December 30th, 2019, Manila, City Garden Grand Hotel John. Brief note: City Garden Grand Hotel. Price, NOK 800 to 900, roughly $90, including breakfast. Food prices reasonable. Spacious and comfortable room. Breakfast reasonably good. All in all, the best value for money hotel I've stayed in Manila. George. I am still editing John's diary as of the 13th of January 2021. The editor, he who must be obeyed, has given me strict instructions not to have so-called flash forwards into 2021. However, I received a message from Chris on Skype about a rape slay case that happened in the City Garden Grand Hotel in the new year, 2020-2021. It seems a dead air hostess was found in the bath in one of the rooms. But the police have decided she died of natural causes. I don't intend to carry out a major investigation here. But it goes without saying that John has lost interest in staying at this hotel. Out of respect for the deceased and her family, I will not make any more comments here. Interested readers can do their own searches on the internet.
Rhianna was a student whom John had met before, and she wanted to continue her tuition. As part of her resume, she sent the picture included here. She suggested the tuition fee should be about 25 or 30,000 for a 3-day seminar. As mentioned in chapters 1 and 2. John had introduced an innovative educational idea that the professors should pay the students a fee, as it was they who learned the most and enjoyed the most during the educational intercourse. Professor John could remember inculcating Rhianna for the first time in a hotel in Malate. This is recorded in a previous episode. Perhaps it was the Pan Pacific or the New World Hotel. But he specifically remembers that their educational intercourse felt like a silk glove, in that she embraced his firm instructor. In fact, he felt like a young student again wanting to discharge all his knowledge after only a few brief sessions. Rhianna was just a simple girl student. She tried to dress attractively. She sent John some photos from her CV. John was always invigorated by the inviting looks of his girl students. In fact, his fervor could grow by several inches by such a look. Rhianna's photos Rhianna had sent in an application for a grant for a college uniform. The colleges in the Philippines required that female students wear a uniform until the age of 18 and older. Rhianna had been given such a grant, and sent Professor John some photos of herself in school uniform with the hope of obtaining more grants and better grades. Girl students would often flirt with Professor John in the hope of getting a better grade, as he was a sucker regarding sweet young girls. But he knew where to draw the red line, as his job depended on it. So when Rhianna sent him these suggestive photos in her school uniform, he had to give her a final warning, pointing out that this was not acceptable according to the university's code of ethics.
Please, slowly there. It's very big. It's hurt. Oh, darling, your tongue feels so good licking me. Your instrument is so big. Are you near the promised land, darling? Are you finished?
Descriptions of girl students. A picture is worth 1,000 words, as mentioned elsewhere here. I am no classical author, so I am unable to provide adequate, flowery descriptions of all the heroines in this story. So, as to cheat, as if I were writing a children's book. Instead of offering flowery, verbal descriptions, I will just present some photos and illustrations. To refer to the cliche, a picture is worth 1,000 words, this is my excuse. But I have to be careful here, because the morality police are not only working dexterously in the various oppressive dictatorships ruled by malevolent, misogynistic, and homophobic men, such as in Iran, North Korea, and Russia, the morality police are also hard at work in the so-called free West, censoring pictures on various websites that show the human body. But I won't dwell on this topic here, as it is never ending. The point I'm trying to make is that I have to censor myself, so as not to be excluded from the fellowship of good men.
As mentioned elsewhere here, Professor John's vain girl students were all too eager to send him so-called inviting photos. The point of this long preamble is to point out that Rhianna, in her photos, presented herself as some kind of unquenchable student girl, lusting after carnal knowledge. But as mentioned above, this was only a persona she adopted in her relationship with Professor John. Nevertheless, instead of giving a detailed character description of her, I will insert some of the photos she has sent me of her and some of her friends, because she told me they wanted to have carnal instruction too. Art class students as mentioned above. Many of Rhianna's friends wanted some hard, incisive instruction. John was not only a teacher of language and philosophy, but he was also an artist. He suggested they could pay for their studies if they posed as life models. He asked them to send some poses.
John couldn't resist these young girl students. It was as if his rational brain stopped functioning as soon as they adopted a schoolgirl pose. In fact, the pictures the students sent John far surpassed the skills of Bolthus. Perhaps Bolthus was aware of the fact that young girls learnt at an early age how to capture older men. History provides many examples. But I will leave it up to the reader to investigate more.
Rhianna is about 18 or 19 years old and is a single mother with a young son. But she looks like she is 13 years old, so delightful, innocent and sweet. She has the appearance of a Malay girl. She has high cheekbones, so she looks like a classical Malay girl. In other words, she does not have the delicate Asian China doll features. Her upper body is slim, with small apple-like breasts. Her ass isn't boyish. She has a pleasant personality, often smiled, but didn't say an awful lot. Rana is about 18 or 19 years old and is a single mother with a young son. But she looks like she is 13 years old, so delightful, innocent and sweet. She has the appearance of a Malay girl. She has high cheekbones, so she looks like a classical Malay girl. In other words, she does not have the delicate Asian China doll features. Her upper body is slim, with small apple-like breasts. Her ass isn't boyish. She has a pleasant personality, often smiled, but didn't say an awful lot.
Rhianna only stayed for 2 days tuition, and went home the next day at 5 p.m. with some story about her grandmother. I prefer this to early morning departures, as it disturbs your whole sleep cycle. Moreover, I had instructed her into a state of boredom, 5 or 6 sessions, including twice in the morning, 3 a.m. and 7 a.m. Her capacity for instruction, that is the insertion of incisive knowledge, is medium, small, giving me an overall satisfaction of being able to insert into her my instructor, so I gave her a grade B. She is hardly a genius, but an accommodating student most of the time.
Can you make it 18,000? I really wanna buy a new phone so I always online and can respond to educational issues. This is maybe the last time because you will not see me for 2 years since I'm going to Saudi Arabia to work.
Professor John comments, no wonder the Educational Council is nearly bankrupt. 10,000 pesos was more than enough for her grant. Normally, 2,000 or 3,000 pesos is the going rate. But she had to travel far. To be cynical, there isn't much desirability left in this educational relationship, so her demand for 18,000 pesos was perhaps the straw that broke the camel's back. I have to admit, I won't be very motivated to contact her in the future for more seminars. Better to double up with regular students. In these hard times, we need to adopt hard and austere policies. George, the amanuensis, comments, John is no more than a standing example of the consequences of a professor being enthralled to the attractiveness of some girl students. He squanders away the paltry wealth of the council upon the most worthless creatures. He raises the value of the girl students he fancies to more than they are worth. More absurd. He gives his girl students indulgent presents that only contribute to ruining himself. Nothing is more absurd than the fact that he is paying for his own destruction. And the destruction of the education system. John comments, flash forward comment, Oslo, the 21st of May 2020. The grants to these students had threatened to bankrupt the Educational Council. The council had determined that Professor John needed to make some cutbacks. He didn't like to do it, but he had to inform some of his students that they were no longer eligible for grants. He wrote letters to the following students about refusing or reducing grants. Discontinued grants to Lynn, Chris, Jan, Ploy, and Sherry. Reduced grants to, with this massive downsizing, John was able to considerably reduce the number of students in his class. All this represented large savings for the council, but only a small percentage of what was needed to keep the educational project afloat. NB. John consoled himself with the fact that we're all sinking ships in the sense we are mortal. Or in the words of J.M. Keynes, in the long run we are all dead.
One night, you asking me if I wanted wine. I said, no, it's okay, and watched a show that I don't understand on TV. You said it's President Trump. He has declared a national emergency about IT threat. And I asked, who is that president? You know them? Fire has broken out at Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris. Jan said. I asked, what is it? It's one of the largest and oldest Catholic cathedrals in the world. Jan answered. I only said, that is very sad, darling. Filipinos always go to church too. There's a beautiful church in Greenbelt too. Maybe we can go there and shopping? OMG! Sir, my phone is not working good. Please look for some good phone in Robinson because I have to be in contact with you for studies. You know, sir, my father asking if the student council can give me extra grant, which I need for my son, so I can continue studies. Sir, I get nosebleed soon. Too much English give me headache. Stop talk. Let me give you massage. But remember to give me extra grant, okay? Don't forget my phone, dear. My grandmother is asking for my kid some allowance when I'm here, dear.